I think probably one of the things that, I'm well known for the firefighter stuff, and I'm known for ops and Amazon stuff. One of the things that I think is vastly underrated in our community, and probably people don't think about me really clearly, is I have a lot of theater training. And one of the things that made a giant difference in my success, and has really enabled me to sort of play more with situations that I think other people struggle with is I've done a lot of improv theater, and I'm really comfortable on my feet. As a result, I've been able to, like when you build companies, you need to present, you need to talk a lot to the media, you need to do a lot of other things that really being able to communicate what you want to say in a way that even if people don't understand, they're glad that they heard you say it, is a skill that I rely on more often than I probably should. I just have a real comfort, on stage or on camera or other environments where you can have fun with it. So that's probably one thing that most people absolutely underrate. And as I've become more known generally, if I could make a recommendation to other people, go take an improv class. It teaches you to say yes. And honestly, being able to consistently over and over and over again respond positively to whatever's getting thrown at you, particularly when people are criticizing you or kind of attacking what it is that you're working on. If you're able to turn it into something where you can respond playfully, you can figure out what it is that they said that you can react positively to say yes to, it makes a giant difference in the world. I am sort of representative of a group of people who, starting in the 90s, started building out what were then BBSs, bulletin board systems, and then later internet systems. And when the internet boom happened, so I'm 33, I started working full-time when I was in high school as a sysadmin. And so I would go to high school in the day, and then at night I would go and run IT operations and build out systems and run security stuff for an ISP. Building internet systems has mattered to me because I feel like it extends a platform for all kinds of people to do important things. And back then it was a special place that only a small group of us had access to. And as more and more people sort of glommed on and the marketing people showed up, it just burned me out. So I decided to become a firefighter, which was something that I had always been interested in. I lived in a little town called Boulder Creek, which is in the Bay Area, and they had a volunteer fire program. I thought I'd be an EMT. I had always kind of been the helpful guy. I've always been that guy when people get hurt who's always got a first aid kit or some other thing. And so I enrolled in the fire program. It totally kicked my ass. Best thing I've ever done. I was a geek. Way overweight, weak, little tiny forearms, and I enrolled in the firefighter agility program, which was really hard for me. I completed the training, and then I went on to do a 1.5-year long internship with Palo Alto Fire Department. Then in 2001, I decided that what I wanted to do was join a large fire department, and I wanted that to be the Seattle Fire Department. So my partner and I moved up here, and I started testing for the Seattle Fire Department. It takes a very long time, and that's so I needed a day job. I interviewed at Amazon, and I interviewed with or applied for the King County transit system, trying to get into the drive a bus. And Amazon called me first, so I ended up back in tech. Started volunteering as a firefighter at Burning Man, which I've been involved with for a long time. So I'm a very proud member of Black Rock City's fire department. There's about 120 of us and about, I think, 300 in emergency services total. So I'm still an active firefighter, just one time a year, and it's really nice to remain connected to that, even though my tech career has sort of taken up a lot of time. During my time at Amazon, Hurricane Katrina hit, and I had been running all kinds of large-scale incident management things as part of my work for Amazon on a technology side. But I had an opportunity to lead a task force to Operation Hurricane Katrina, and it was a transformative experience as well, where I was able to take a team, build a bunch of shelters, impact tens of thousands of people. And so I've always kind of kept my tech career and my emergency services career. Opscode is a company that makes tools for software developers and systems engineers to automate their infrastructure. We make a tool called Chef that uses cookbooks and recipes that are shareable and lets people cook up infrastructure programmatically. So if you're a software developer or a systems engineer, check it out. The first and most important thing is every decade there's a revolution in computing, in infrastructure, in IT, in what is possible in the world as a whole from the technology that we build. The internet revolution is built by a lot of different people, but one of the groups of people that kind of missed out on a lot of the party was the people like me who were in data centers, scaling out servers, scaling out hardware, deploying those applications. So my joke has often been that, well, everyone else was at the big launch party. We were always in the data center, installing those last few servers and trying our darndest to make sure that the site would stay up as more and more people came on board. So during my time at Amazon, I realized that this was a really, what we did was kind of magic. And also had a lot of parallels to my service as a firefighter, where you don't build the building, but you were responsible for putting the fire out when something goes wrong, and you don't cause the accidents, but you're often required to go to great lengths to help people when something happened. And so I implemented a lot of what I built at Amazon, built in the fire service at Amazon. Something called incident management, which was adapted from the fire department incident command. This is the first part of what I did that was disruptive. Was I took the community that of people who sit in the back and have been running these large websites that we all depend on, and I realized we needed a home. I felt like we kind of had a tribe, and that tribe was lost to some extent, where we weren't able to talk to each other because what we did was secret. And also when we were in these management organizations, what we did was so important, and yet everyone kind of shat on us because it's like, oh yeah, it's just those ops guys. They're not business, they're not even writing code. And so when I left Amazon, I set out to make a home for us. And I convinced Tim O'Reilly, who's the CEO of O'Reilly Media, a big technology book publisher and conference producer, that there was a thing that was happening, which was our tribe needed a home, and O'Reilly could help us build that home. So I and a group of other people started organizing what has now become the Velocity Conference, or the Web Performance and Operations Conference, which is the home for people who build and scale the internet sites and the large enterprises that we all depend on every day. By organizing that, it helped start a movement that no matter what happens with Opscode or any of the other sort of companies that I build or help, the movement has been about making the ways that we build and scale technology work better, and finally moving the people who actually understand how all this critical infrastructure works to a place of prominence, and giving them a way to share best practices, which makes a better internet, makes a better society, honestly. So the first wave of sort of my disruptive efforts in the world came there. That gave us a platform to do a second thing. Before Opscode existed, we realized that there was a giant gap in the tooling infrastructure that was available for people who were facing the kinds of challenges that everybody in our environment tends to face, which is how do you scale to thousands of machines predictably and reliably? How do you deal with large-scale failures, which are commonplace as you get bigger? How do you manage complexity so that you can build sites like Facebook and Google and Yahoo and Microsoft and Zynga and all these other ones where suddenly you have this incredible challenge of exponential growth and complexity and the things that you've got to manage. And so we created a tool called Chef. Actually, Adam Jacob, one of my co-founders, showed it to me at the very first Velocity. And I said, we could build a company around that and we could take over the world. And the reason was it had all of the properties that we needed as to take us from very small companies that have small scale problems all the way up to really, really large companies and give them this stable foundation to build a technology platform on. It's particularly disruptive because it's bottoms up. Every company that has ever existed in this space has attempted to sell to CIOs. They've attempted to build these big complex systems that are really expensive and tend never to work. And frankly, I've never used any of those systems at any of the sites that I've built or helped run. And as a result, we needed a different approach. And Chef is built by developers, it's extended by developers, it's extended by sysadmins. It's built to share. Everyone who works with it is able to contribute to, and that means that instead of having to sell to the CIO, we're able to just have developers and sysadmins grab it, start using it, and make their environments better. And it makes them feel very, very powerful, which is why it's been so effective.